That's right, teacher, you sit down. So if everyone could please find a seat, that would be super. Thank you so much for coming. And try not to kill yourself getting up to your seat, because if you do, we got no money. So I'm Donna Maxey, founder director of Race Talks, and thank you so much for coming tonight. And this had a lot of moving parts to coordinate, and so we're still in the process of coordinating those parts. But in the meantime, we're going to start with our, I can talk. You have to forgive me, I've had 3 concussions in 2.5 years, so sometimes when I'm composing, I forget words. Okay, so in the meantime, we are going to do our newcomer welcome. And some of you have seen this before. If you have, please sit quietly so that the newcomers can see it. How many of you are newcomers for tonight? Great. Wow. Okay. All right, so let me tell you the important rooms. There's a bar back there. Spend money graciously. Tip big. Women's restroom is out the back door. Men's restroom is right across from this door. Okay, so we'll do the newcomers welcome, and then we will have some announcements to make, and then our speakers will take over. Okay. I'm Donna Maxey. I am the founder director of Race Talks, and we're really excited to see you here. Just wanted to do kind of an introduction about what Race Talks is about. We're doing this for newcomers. Race Talks was started out of when I was asked to speak at a McMenamin's History Pub, and the topic was urban renewal, urban removal. If you turn to the other side of the brochure, there is, we have rules. We have the Race Talks ground rules. Try to encourage people to follow these rules. And they're important that people feel safe being here. I've had people of color who have said, this is the first time I've ever told a white person how I really feel. And I've had white people who have said, this is the first time that I was able to talk about race and not worry about putting my foot in my mouth. I feel safe to talk. I feel safe that I will be accepted, and I won't be beat up for saying or asking what seems like an obviously stupid question. So that's really important. So what we encourage people to do is to listen to each other with curiosity, respect differences, agree to disagree. You don't have to agree with everything somebody says. You can agree that that's their opinion. Speak from the self and from the heart. It means when you're speaking, don't talk about, I know somebody who, either it's you and you were involved with the person, or, speak from your own experience, not someone else's. Respect confidentiality. Now, because you're involved in these discussions, you have a right to go out and share the discussion that happened at your table. But what we're asking you to do is, if you do share something that someone else has said, to not give their name, to not give their location. Contribute honestly and positively. That's all we can ask anybody to do. And assume positive intent. Even if somebody says something and you feel like you want to roll your eyes and say, how could you be so stupid? Assume that they really had best intentions when they said what they said. Be open to new ideas and relax and enjoy. The follow-up activities, these are the things that we're trying to get people to do. One of the things that folks do a lot of times is they'll go to a lecture and they'll feel so good about the lecture, and then they go home and do the same things they've always done. And what we want folks to do is something different. Don't go home to your community where you don't know people of color or you don't know white people. Go home and get to know the people who are at your table. We have little cards, little colored cards at the table for those folks who say, well, I don't have a business card. So give people your number. Get together, have coffee. And it says, go out just for fun, go out and make friends with a person in your own ethnic group. I moved to an area in Portland that I had taught in, and there were kids of color, lots of kids of color at my school. So I just assumed there would be lots of people in the neighborhood who were of color, and boy, was I wrong. After I'd been there a year, I got a couple of the neighbors that were friendly to help me throw one of those block parties. So we threw one of those. We passed out flyers, 4 blocks wide, 10 blocks long, and about 50 people came. And what amazed me is that some of those people had lived in that neighborhood for 28 years and didn't know each other. So what I'm inviting people to do is go make friends with someone in your own ethnic group. Let me ask a question. How many of you know the people on your block, 3 houses to your left, 3 houses to your right, and 3 in front of you? Now, if you know 9 houses, and when I say know, meaning you know them, you've been in their house, you got their phone number, how many people know that? Look around the room. So get to know your neighbors. Talk to the people who are around you. And when you do, don't discuss race. If it's a person of color, or if you're a person of color and it's a white person, don't talk about race. Just talk about what you have in common, you know? Things like, gee, that's a nice shirt you have on. Or you just never know where it's going to lead in a discussion. You never know what you'll find out from people when you talk to them. You might develop a relationship from it. So, and the question is, how many people of color, if you are white, and how many white people and people of other ethnicities are on your speed dial? Now, what I call speed dial is those are your people that you call up and say, hey, I just got a promotion, let's go have a drink. Hey, me and the boyfriend broke up, need to talk. You know, those people you call at 3 o'clock in the morning. You say, who can I call and talk to? How many people from different ethnic groups are on your speed dial? And if they're not, the question is, why not? There are a couple of premises that we have here at Race Talks, and there's a great book that I'd love for you to read. It's called Courageous Conversations in Race. It is a part of the foundation that I used in helping to put together Race Talks. And one of the things that they talk about in Courageous Conversations in Race is that we make the assumption, we do talk about race, and white is a race, and we make the assumption that white people have privilege. And a lot of white people would say, I don't have privilege, I work my butt off. Well, yes, you do work your butt off. But what you don't know is that people of color work harder, and they have to. And to help you kind of understand that, think of yourself as a fish. You wouldn't ask a fish, how's the water? Fish don't even know they're in water. Just like white people don't know that they have privilege. But I'm a fish too. But somebody threw me on the dock. And every so often I get to jump in the water. When I get a degree or I get a promotion or something great happens, I get to jump in the water and be like, wow, is this what it feels like? This is great, I'm loving this. And then next thing I know, somebody snatches me out and throws me back up on the dock. And I'm up there gasping for air. So it's not that white people don't work hard, because they do. And one of the things that really happens is that I think of life as being like a 100-meter race, and poor white people start at 0 at the starting line, all the way up to the Rothschilds who start at 97. Those are the people who sold arms during World War II to both sides, to the Axis and the Allies, so they were making theirs no matter who. So people have different levels of privilege that they get to exercise. People of color start back behind that starting line, back to African Americans who are back at -50, and you say, why African Americans back at -50? Well, we're back at -50 because we're the most maligned group here in the United States. And if you stop and think about it, think about it. So anyway, and when we're back there, we're blindfolded, one leg tied behind us carrying a piano, and the gun goes off. And we wind up either slightly behind, even, or slightly ahead. And the question is, how do you manage to do that when you've started so far behind? And it's because you know you have to work harder. So sit back, relax, enjoy, and we will have a wonderful discussion afterwards. Thank you all for coming, and we're really excited that you're here. That was pitiful. Listen, act like you're excited. Come on. I'm telling you. Okay. I don't have to act act like I do when I have my students, and they didn't act like they had any energy, and so then we have to go out and run to the fence, get the blood pumped to their head. I don't want us to have to run around the parking lot, okay? So, and besides, I can't make it around there this time. So, I am very excited for you to be here. We have the Portland Parent Union folks here. Portland Parent Union, raise your hand if you're a Portland Parent Union. Actually, stand up if you're a Portland Parent Union person, please. Or have been invited by Portland Parent Union. Or you've been invited by Portland Parent Union specifically to come. Thank you. All right. So, what we would like is for one of you folks to sit at every table so you can take notes. There are 3 of you at this table. So could I get 2 of you to trade out and go to another table? Where's there a table where there's not a PPU person? So we've got like 4 tables. So 5 tables? Okay, so you can go right next door to you if you wanna. And then can we trade out one of you folks there at that table? And are there any other extra PPU folks? Okay, so these, when they finish speaking, they will come and join a table, okay? All right. Okay.
So can I say something real quick? I see a table full of young people. Do you guys mind kind of spreading yourself out a little bit? And
what we're trying to do is get a mix of everybody at every table. So if you're a student, if there's already students at your table, would you go to another table? If you are a PPU person, could you go to another table? We've already spread the Race Talks facilitators out at every table. We want the school board people, the members of the school board who are here, to be sure to hear a variety of things tonight. So we want everybody to have a chance to be spoken. So, young lady, you can sit right here if you like. Are you a PPU person? Then you guys see.
yeah.
Okay, and there's a whole table up here at the front too. So, school board members of the school board, I'm being very specific about that because I was told to be specific. There are some rules that the legislature has put in place that if the school board meets, then they have to do certain advertising and protocol. We did not follow that protocol. These are people who are coming as individuals to be a part tonight, but they do happen to be elected to the school board. And I would like to welcome them and give them a round of applause. So if you're not aware, running for school board is usually the entree to public office. And it's a tough, thankless job. And people think of it as the entree to public office, but the truth of the matter is it's the most important job that there is. There's 2 most important jobs in the world. The first one is being a parent, and the second one is being a teacher. And if you're doing those, you're working on those things, and you're supporting future generations, then you do the most important work. And let me tell you, we all had a teacher, we all had a parent. So I appreciate the school board for coming, the members of the school board for coming, and for being here. I have asked that they stand, and I would love for you to introduce yourselves. And so will all the members of the school board please stand? I want to make sure there's only one at a table. And continue to stand. All right, don't give them too much of the big head. You just got a little too much. All right, so this lovely young lady is going to come around, and each one of them is going to give you their name, their profession, not where you work, just your profession, and whether you have children or have had children in Portland Public Schools. And yeah, your name.
My name is Rita Moore. I am a policy analyst, and my son graduated from PPS in 2013.
My name is Ailey Lowry, and I am a United Methodist pastor. My daughter is a freshman at Cleveland, and I would just like to add, Donna, that being on school board isn't a job, it's a volunteer opportunity to serve our community.
Yeah, let me say that. They do not get paid. They do not get paid. And I'm not sure, yeah. And it is a job, you just are not getting paid, just like I'm not getting paid.
Amen. Thank you so much. My name is Amy Constam. I'm a volunteer right now. Most recently worked with Mercy Corps. I have 3 sons who've all been through Portland Public Schools, and I attended PPS K-12 too.
Thank you. Julia Brim-Edwards. I do global government and public affairs work, but my real job is a parent activist. I was a PBS parent for 18 years, and I'm a PBS graduate.
Hi, my name is Scott Bailey. I work as an economist. I'm a PPS graduate, as are both my kids, and my wife's a teacher at PPS. And my niece and my sister.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. We did something very different tonight. We got translators. So this is our first time ever doing that. And so we have Spanish and Somali translators. Translators, are you in the room right now? So they are not, they're in the community room, and they are, they're in the community room, and they will, if there are people who want translation for this event, then they can go into the community room for Spanish and Somali translation. We're hoping that we will be able to do that again. It's a very expensive undertaking, and just so you know, I do not get paid for doing this. I haven't quite figured out how to get paid yet. I'm working on it. But we're going into our 10th year. So I am doing this as my hard work because I think it's important, just as Sheila Warren is doing it as her hard work, and she's been doing it longer than I have. So this is because we believe in what we are doing. And if you don't have something that rocks you and makes you go out and want to work to make this a better world, then you need to get something. And so PPU is a perfect place to start with volunteering. And Race Talks, you can come and do that too. And high school people, we're trying to get facilitators. We got a future one back there right now, melting down. And so we need facilitators. We need young people being facilitators. So will all of the Race Talks facilitators please stand up so folks can see who you are. So I just wanted to say something else very quickly. This is an elected position, but it is volunteer. It is a tremendous amount of work. Tremendous. I don't know if the people who ran for this office knew how much work they were going to get into when they ran, because they read volumes every week and they make decisions that are very important. And I'm a retired teacher, and one of the best years that I had teaching, period, when I did my best teaching, is when I saw each one of those kids as my child. And my child's face was superimposed on theirs. So as the school board members make your decisions, I hope that that's what you will do. And as we all go through life, I hope what we will do is to make those decisions. I just saw my teacher from Grant High School, so how many teachers are here? Raise your hand if you're a teacher. How many students are here? How many students? You guys know how to raise your hand higher than that. Come on. I hate those students who do this. Like I can see you sitting down and this hand here. So, okay, so one of the words that I want you to remember for tonight and going forward is Ubuntu. U-B-U-N-T-U. It's a Zulu word, and it basically translates into I am because of we. And we are all in this ship called Earth, and there's a hole in the bottom of the boat. And we, if, you know, the people who are on the top deck might not go first, but this ship's going down if we don't get together and fix it. So this is what you're here to do tonight, to share with the school board members what is going on. What I would love for you guys to do while you're here, board members, is to stay. Once the panel presents, then after every 20 minutes, get up and go to a different table and then share, listen to what those folks have to say so that you will get a mix of what's going on and what people have to say, all right? So we have an august panel here, and I'll let them introduce themselves.
I would like to say hello, everybody. Hello. And it's really a pleasure to be here. I see a table in the back where there's a whole table full of experts who do amazing work with PPS. Would love for you guys to stand up. Some of you are my colleagues. We work together. Stefan, where you guys are. Amy's, these have been my friends and colleagues. And they happen to be brown people, and so, you know, and I'm going to put you guys on the spot. These are also experts, and some probably know more than I do. And these are experts back here, yes, Nicole, yes. And if you guys don't mind, if we need you in a pinch, would you be willing to support us in that way if we need you in a pinch? Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am. Okay, all right. I am here because of a letter that we started that we were hoping that would keep going. And I just wanted to say that the letter, if you read the letter is a key part of this, and there is a letter on your table. It's a long letter, so if you want to skim through it or use it as a point of reference when you do this. What we've had agreed to do, and some of us are religious, and we've been praying all week and making sure that this thing is correct and that we come correct with it. Our letter we were pretty angry. There was emotions in that letter. There was a lot of things in that letter. And we want to leave that letter there, where it is. It's a point of reference. But we had decided we want to just have conversations tonight. And Parent Union has a request of how we can have those conversations, because for years, what we have been doing is pushing back and saying, you're making decisions for us, and let's all make the decisions together. These are our babies. Let's all, we can all do that, right? Mm-hmm. Right? We keep talking about let's have conversations, let's do this, and we're fearful. We have a lot of fear. We're afraid. And so I'm asking everybody tonight, if you could be brave, if you can step out and be brave and say what you need to say in a respectful way, and respond the way you need to respond. There will be notes taken, as Donna said. We have Parent Union people. We're hoping that some of you, when the board members move, we hope that some of the rest of you who have a lot of information about education, we hope you move too. That would be amazing. This is going to be amazing because we pray for it. And you know, whether you believe in prayer or not, it's going to be amazing. The essence that I'm bringing here is my baby, Johnny. You want to introduce yourself and who you are?
My name is Johnny Hopkins. I'm the PPU Student Council President.
Thank you so much for being here. Muchas gracias. My name is Pedro Anglada Cordero. I am a social worker here in Portland, Oregon. Thank you.
My name is Susan Anglada Bartley. I'm an educator and an author and activist here in Portland, Oregon. Thank you.
My name is Ron Warren. I am the husband of Sheila Warren. And I am here to support her in any way that I can.
And I am Sheila Washington Warren, and I go Washington Warren because I had to remember, hey, I did have another name at one time, so it feels good to put it together. So, and if you know about the Warren family, they're huge, and sometimes I have to go Sheila Washington because we're related to everybody here in this place. So we are. We have to tell our children, you guys need to go somewhere else because you might be dating your cousin. So there's a packet on, a PowerPoint packet that we wanted to get information, and especially wanted the board to have it. And it's just information that was in the letter. It's more of bringing out some points in the letter. Now, if some of you have been to our events, our listening dialogue events, and you've been to the parent union, our Dignity Schools, the national group events that we have around pushing kids out of school. And guess what we do when you come to our events? Guess what we make you do, or ask you to do. I don't want to say make. Ask. My husband said encourage you to do. You want to go to the dancing part? Oh, I said it, we're gonna dance. Guess what, we're gonna dance. If we can get it up. One day we're gonna be perfect at this, I promise you. Guess what that is? Everybody knows who Pharrell Williams is, right? It might sound crazy, come on now. I'm gonna come around. Sometimes she can take a break. I tell you, don't know how to dance? Look at me. Watch me. Because somebody come along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because somebody come along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because somebody come along if you know that happiness is you. Because somebody come along if you feel like that's what you want to do. They come back news, talking this and that. If you don't feel like dancing, wait a minute.
Okay, hold up the basket. We have a basket that we're raffling off. Tickets are $10. How much is the basket worth? $2.50. The basket's worth $2.50. So if you want to help tonight, buy a raffle ticket. You can spend something. And people at the table will be trying to sell you something. Is there anything else, my folks, is there anything else I forgot to mention? Passport card. For McMenamins, you get points for tonight. So, whatever, I think that's it. Go, Michigan.
Ma'am. Oh, okay, wrong one, okay. Never know.
Oh, I know that.
Oh, right here, right.
Listen, I'm gonna get a new brain. I'm working on neurotherapy. So we have a new board member that walked in, Michelle DePass. Michelle is the newest board member, and I want to thank Michelle for putting me in touch with the board, and Ellie Day for working with Sheila on helping to set this up, and Michelle works for the city of Portland.
That's it, go.
Ready, set, go. Let me ask you, how do you feel after that? It's perfect time. So anytime you come to our events, guess what? Guess what? I'm feeling better. I'm tired as heck, but I feel much better. Yay. Thank you guys. It's been a crazy, crazy day. As most of us could say, right? Okay, so, what? Oh, Johnny, go ahead.
I introduced myself already, but okay. I've learned that students will forget what you said, students will forget what you did, but students will never forget how you made them feel.
Thank you. He will have more to say. Okay, who's next? So if you have this PowerPoint, there should be a copy on your, that you can follow through. Some are older, but we have a lot of information. We thought it would be good to provide the letter and the PowerPoint, especially for references when you start having conversation. One of the things that insert from the letter is, who are we? And so one of the things, I want to say this for Parent Union, and it is, and I'm going to read it. What's our time looking at, Donna? 7. Okay. All right, let me get this gum out of my mouth. If I was in school, I would be stolen, right? Let me swallow. No, that's wrong. Okay.
I'll give you some more.
Thank you. Okay. All right. So what we're advocating for is we're bringing love tonight, and we're also asking and bringing recommendations. And this was what was in the letter. So, in what I said in the letter, who we are. I'm breathing heavy. Our community organizing is a process where we as a people who have had the same experiences of marginalization with our families or ourselves. This is little print, I can't even hardly see this. This is from the letter. We came together into an organization that acts in a shared self-interest. And like those who promote more consensual community building, PPU organizing generally assumes that social changes will inherently involve conflict and social struggle in order to generate collective power for the powerless. The disparities didn't happen overnight, right, folks? PPU's core goal of community organizing is to generate durable power for Portland Parent Union, representing the community, allowing us to influence key decision makers on a range of issues over time. In the ideal, this can get community organizing groups a place at the table. Consistently, before important decisions are made. We believe, and like I said, this was a letter to specific school board members. We believe you are too fearful to give your whole self or the invested time to families who need you the most. What is fear? An unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat. Dr. Brene Brown says, we're all afraid. I know I am a lot. We just have to get to the point where we understand. It doesn't mean that we can't also be brave, right? We at PPU are weary of doing restarts of hope. We carry no trust for those who claim they are for all our children. And by default, few look like us. And by default are really not able to fulfill their promises. This is one of the drivers that creates distrust, right? Of the system. This is why, okay, I want you guys to hear when I say this and internalize that we want to participate as much as we can. This is why we need to have conversations, right? We hope tonight is that beginning. Can we start restoring that trust tonight? What? Come on. I'm gonna cry on that one. No, I'm not. Okay. So, anyway, what we're going to do, I would love for my husband, I asked him to participate and sit by my side today. And he's doing that. Yay! Here, would you read this for us? Oh, yeah, I have it. Should I say it, Nina? Should I say it? 51 years. Yeah!
2006.
You have to hold it up like a rock star.
2006 plus 2008 equals 11 years.
That's this.
Oh,
This little one.
oh,
That's
this
long.
one.
We'll be here forever.
Okay. I may object. Anyway, our main objective, subject to all these years is to build relationships through dialogue and loving people up, as well as advocating for those families who are being pushed out. We push back because of how our families are treated, marginalized, profiled, dismissed, never included, pushed out. Can we talk about our children together to drive bilateral decision making? That's a question. Can we?
Yeah. I want to invite everybody to go ahead and stretch in your seat or out of your seat. As a teacher, I know energy can get stuck in our bodies. And as a white person, starting this little piece that I have, I also understand some things about captivity and whiteness. And so I want everyone to remember everybody is free to stand up and move around while I speak. Just want to honor that. My part. What a privilege to be with you tonight. What a privilege to have the opportunity to speak for a new paradigm. I want to start by thanking Donna for organizing this for 9 years. And you're going to hear more of my thank you for Sheila throughout this speech. I also want to just make sure you know the flowers on the table, on all of the tables, are from Portland Parent Union and should be taken by the oldest Black or Indigenous woman at each table. Just the flower, not the vase. Right? But you'll have to figure that out later. And we just want to extend our appreciation in the name of accountability, not hostility. So let it not be mistaken. I am not here to claim my space. I'm not here to promote my own new idea. Just this once, I would really like to do one thing right. To honor a woman who has given a great deal of her life energy to both providing a loving, safe haven for parents of primarily Black children who are experiencing trauma in Oregon's public schools, Sheila Warren. For me, as a white woman who has won all kinds of awards, researched and analyzed the results, I'm here to say that all signs point toward the fact that white women and white people will not be the ones to solve the problems that face our system. Every major researcher eventually realizes that the concept of the white expert in and of itself is a falsehood, and that the answer lies in listening to Black, Latinx, Indigenous, Asian, and Pacific Islander communities. My one job tonight is to stand before you and say that I notice the culture, especially among white leftists where everyone wants to put their elbows up and be the one who's just a little more right. I realize my job tonight to be the job of totally disavowing and refusing the privilege of my own white authority and simply saying that I truly and wholly agree with the paradigm shift presented by the visionary that is Sheila Warren. Sheila and I came together across the lines of race, class, and generation to author a letter about the extreme hardship we see in East Side schools and the disparity between East Side schools that serve impoverished communities and communities of color. And I will be specific, as I already have been. When I say communities of color, I mean Black, Indigenous, Asian, Pacific Islander. And wealthy schools on the West Side that serve predominantly white students. From where I live, near 82nd and Southeast Flavel, one of the highest traffic areas for methamphetamine and heroin, and where she lives in North Portland, I won't say specifically out of protection for her. Together, we noticed common themes: Black, Latinx, Indigenous children attending schools with inadequate and incomparable learning opportunities to those available in other parts of the city, exacerbated by elements that include multi-generational poverty, addiction, child hunger, and displacement caused by gentrification. We both notice a total lack of urgency from the school board in dealing with these issues, though the pretense of good work is always front-loaded in the process. But it is Sheila who came up with the brilliant idea that we are presenting tonight. Noting the uncomfortable history of PPS trying to establish sudden drop-in-the-bucket community meetings to solve ongoing problems, Sheila's vision is one of a system transformation toward long-term relationships based on restorative processes, thereby systematizing accountability to communities of color, specifically the aforementioned. Sheila's concept means that we center voices of the most impacted communities. Her idea does not include a series of ongoing listening circles that can be overrun by white women with social power. In fact, the listening circles will center only voices of Black, Latinx, Indigenous, and Asian people, Pacific Islander people. To the school board members, firstly, thank you for being here. I say, I know change is hard. It is time to completely change the way that you do business. Time to deconstruct the slightly raised chamber where the community speaks to you from below. Time to deconstruct the whiteness that pervades the inner vacuum. White supremacy does not just exist in law books or as a definition. It exists in the architecture of a system that continues to lie to and betray communities of color. Tonight, what if we could admit that as whites, it is not our place to name the solution? What if we had the courage to accept the brilliance of this new idea presented by a woman who has seen and experienced the betrayal and the trauma over time, and who has studied and practiced the new ideas in restorative processes for decades? Finally, fellow whites, I want to offer you some languages and practices from restorative work that could be helpful tonight. When someone shares their trauma or their pain, take the time to authentically share that you understand and heard what they say. Do not change the subject. Let yourself be guided by others more. Open your heart. Close your mouth. Went to my ears. If you are confronted about an attitude, try saying, "Thank you for sharing your perspective. I hear you. I'm willing to look at my part. I'm willing to listen. It's not your job to teach me, but I'm grateful for your communication. And I very much value your perspective. I realize that white privilege keeps me from understanding how my words and actions harm others. I am willing to change." Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. We gave her the bulk she needed to. She's a white woman, right? So she was able to relay. We have a lot of conversations all the time around what a white person's role is compared to what a person of color's role is when we're having those conversations. We all know this. We all know that the most impacted people are the ones who need to have the say and who need to speak for their children. After all, it is their children, right? The children belong to the families. We were the first teachers, right, when our children came into this world. And so we call the teachers, we have the teachers at home, and then we have the teachers who teach outside of the home, right? And so some of you know me, and have probably known me for a long time. And I am willing to try to figure this out in a different manner. We can no longer push back and push back. I have a walker over here. I have internalized stuff that I've carried because of carrying that burden for my children, not only my children, but children everywhere. And how many of us have done it? I see a lot of us around here who have worked hard forever. I'm actually trying to retire, but these young people say, "You work too hard." We don't want to do that. We can't do that because you guys work too hard. And so if we're praying, pray for our young people. Do you guys want to be a president of Parent Union? Would you like to be that? Let's rise up and have good thoughts around our young people who are ready to take our place. Sometimes we don't move out the way as elders and old folks. We don't move out the way to let our young folks be involved. I know I'm getting off the subject because we need to have conversations. But I needed to say that. I felt compelled to say that. If you look here, I have some instructions. And this is another excerpt from the letter. But it takes about 2 minutes, and I'm not sure, maybe if you can get a hold of it and read it. I won't read it. It is very important because there is some recommendations in these instructions. Or maybe I'll have someone in the audience read it, or maybe 2 or 3 people read it. Maybe that's even better. What do y'all think? Let me know. I'm looking at Jessica over there. I'm looking at Nina.
Maybe Courtney?
I'm looking at...
Miss Palmer?
Yeah. Would you guys mind reading that? And this is me, and this is again from the letter. And what did we say about the letter? It's our emotions. Sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's other things. So we're reading this letter and then we're leaving it there, right? we're leaving it there. But people need to hear this. I don't want to read it, it's too emotional.
From Sheila Warren, Portland Parent Union, November 11, 2019, excerpts from the letter. The obligation is to find the knowledge you don't know by building relationships, showing up socially or for dialogue when invited, and being dogmatic about learning about all whom you claim to represent. You and others have been invited to our PPU circles, trust circles, people celebrating people, and restorative listening dialogue over the years. We can name on 3 fingers who shows up. We keep inviting all to come to us to hear our stories. It's a simple action. We can then answer the question school and board officials often ask, what is it families of color and poor white families do not show up for our meetings? Or why is it families of color and poor white families do not show up to our meetings?
Yeah, anybody else?
You, with other board members, will claim to recognize the inequities caused by, please slow down, thank you, racism, nepotism, fragility, partiality, inequity, or inequality, bullying, push-out, funding shortage, astute personalities, social class, and others. We argue that you cannot recognize any of it if you have not lived any of it, lived with any of it, nor had conversations with those who have lived it.
Please recognize the best things you can do for us is to become steadfast, consistent, and persistent with engaging the most impacted in conversations ongoing, as well as bringing them into your consultants in such matters. It is called building intentional relationships. You can't advocate for what you don't know. You can only advocate for what you do know, and that can only translate to limited understandings. It is impossible unless you do the work of gathering the essence of all children. Homework is necessary to be a leader who championed all families.
The idea of raising our voices became silenced over time, but we keep raising them and will never stop. We see the specific favors that are afforded to some who look more like you, or of color who follow the whiteness script, as well as those astute ones. There is no hate intended, but disdain for the act of temporarily listening, promising, and acting to please. Families are not allowed to take their space in an intentional healing, dialogue, storytelling process. We constantly, relentlessly strive for people to have a voice.
Is that it?
Make sure that you encourage inclusive, ongoing conversations. Always look to empower people, especially the ones who need it the most. PPU community believes the asks will never be honored. You are not brave enough. The board is not brave enough. We have seen the same patterns for many years. Top-down decision-making must change.
Thank you, everybody. I think it was more effective with all of us reading it. I wrote this in an emotional state, and thanks, everybody. So we have, where's Pedro? Hey, baby. And then I'm going to
Sheila, you need to talk louder.
Okay.
They're streaming and they can't hear you.
All right.
On the streaming.
Streaming, streaming, streaming. And I don't sing. Okay.
Yes, thank you. So courageous are those who can stand in the conversation with a spirit of collaboration and understanding. It's important for us to critique, but just as important to find solutions. We can't solve the problems by ignoring them. We'll simply continue to promote them. I believe we can do it so much better together. That's Jose Wilson, 2014. There's another quote. What about Equity Impact Circles, a forum where families can tell their stories? We call it Data with Soul. The impact is to the families who always have unfair experiences. What does the U.S. education system need to reduce inequality? Man is best educated who knows the greatest number of things that are so, and who can do the greatest number of things to help and heal the world. That's Henry Ford. Thank you.
We pondered over whether to put that quote because it was Henry Ford, and I was even nervous that his name is the author. You know, y'all understand why, right? Right? But then I looked up Henry Ford, and guess what? There is a link. This PowerPoint can be found on the internet online, so if you want to go and review it later on and do the link, you're welcome. Henry Ford, at this time, hired more black folks. And I was going to say Negroes, because that's what it says in the thing, but he hired more black folks. And I'm used to the word Negro because I was in a time where I was a Negro. I was colored, I was a Negro, I was black. So if anybody gets offended by Negro, that's how it was raised. I was a Negro at the time. So now I'm black. So went through a lot of phases. But Henry Ford hired a lot of black folks in his time. And when he passed away, it was more black people at his funeral than there was anybody else. Wow. And I'm like, wow, okay, we can put his name down there as an author. But okay, this is what we're trying to promote tonight. We're asking, oh, I'm sorry, okay. You can tell I'm not at the best. What we're asking for, and if you guys know me, I can be a hard truth teller, but I can be someone who can love you up really well and be there for you. And someone said one time that, one of the principals said that a lot of times I have my foot up your ass, but I love you up at the same time. So remember that quote. You can tell your truth with love, right? Even though you're mad and angry or whatever, but you can do that. But don't piss me off. Okay. Some age talk. Okay, what we're advocating for is a paradigm shift. And so on this note, we have what a paradigm means and what a shift means. A paradigm shift is a fundamental change in approach or underlying assumptions. Why education must change? The world is changing and our education system needs to evolve with it, right? Almost got in trouble with Donna. And what we're asking for and what we're requesting is reconciliation. I think about South Africa, and I think we need to do that here, right? We need to do some reconciliation. Reconciliation depends on where the accent, where you come from. After all these years, being on opposite sides, aren't we ready to be on the same side, folks? Yes. Are we ready? Are we ready? Reconciliation is the act of bringing people together to be friendly again, or coming to an agreement, right? The restoration of friendly relations. The action of making one view or belief compatible with another. Yay! Wow. Johnny, would you like to come up? While we were doing this and planning this and doing this PowerPoint, because of the letter, we came up with some asks for community for community and for school board. And Johnny, our student council president, is going to read what we would ask for. Excuse me. We used to say demand, we're asking now. So
Supporters/we need adult mentors. Showing up to our events, support our calls for action, show up for trust circles when invited, volunteer with us, help us to create community healing circles/circle gatherings, etc. Become clear about the history of the education system in this country. A school board asked as well. Show up for our trust/healing circles. We use speak at these gatherings. Intentional support without hesitation. Showing up for our events, at least some. Support an adversary group, families whom the system deems less than, have a parent rep on the board equal to your student rep. One day of the month, have a trust circle for the community in place of a board meeting. Come to our community, some of you have never been. Reconstruct school board elections. Current system allows ones who have money and clout to monopolize and easily get in.
all of us are advocates in our own right, and we can be loud and speak, and you see how subdued we are tonight? Because we want the information and conversations we want you guys to do. Respectfully, what you need to do, speak in behalf of us up here, because we could talk. So anyway, so what we are asking again, this is the end. We're gonna dance, we're gonna turn the music on when we're done to, we're gonna, I am everyday people slide the family stone. Okay, so get ready, but anyway, so we need to talk right now. So the easiest way for all of us to get along and agree what is best for our children is to have those scheduled conversations with intentional relationships, building first in order to create collaborative, inclusive decision-making. What does it say? Collaborative and inclusive decision-making. We were asking for a trust circle. You know why we're asking for a trust circle? Because we had one in 2014 with school board members, principals, the superintendent. So to the left of this, if you have a copy of it, look it up. These are our notes in 2014 when we had the trust circle with parents. And so we have started something, and it was in 2014. So read the notes. And last but not least, we're going to turn it over to the facilitators, right? Anything you have to say? Okay.
Let's hear it for our panel. You'll hear a lot of hesitancy on their part. It's because it's very difficult to talk. It's difficult to talk because it's so heartfelt. And I want to say this to the people who are making the decisions. I want to say this to the people who say you are an ally. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. And you have to be willing to make tough decisions. This ship we call Earth is going down. There's a few people going to Mercury with Elon Musk, but not very many. Or to Mars, shall I say, with Elon Musk. Not very many. And understand that we are all in this race together. I talked about it in the introduction. If you're poor white, you're at the starting line at 0. So there's a great video. Trevor Noah and John Elegant discuss race and identity in America. Get with the Times. It's a New York Times sponsored forum at a college. Please write that down. Please write that down. Trevor Noah, Get with the Times, and it's at a college. So they're discussing race and identity, and it's so important Because the bottom line is that these people can be up here putting their lives on the line and fighting for what is right. But just want you to know, you're building a world that your children have to go out into. And if other people's children are not getting their needs met, your kids are going to have to deal with it. So think about that. Think about that. And this world is getting worse every day. Houselessness is an issue all over the world. All over the world. And we're starting wars. So enough of my preaching. So I just want to make sure at every table there's a facilitator. Also, if someone needs translation services, we have the translators. Are the two of them still in here, or are they back in the room? I think they went back to the community room. Okay. So the other piece is that please make sure that there's a note taker at every table. There's a facilitators, look in your folder, there's a notebook for notes. Board members said they came here to listen, to hear what you had to share. And so please be respectful of that. Share what you want to share. They are not the enemy. They are not the enemy. But we do understand that you were hurt. And often when we are hurt, we get angry. So, but share your points and not at them. We are requesting that each of you speak for 1 minute. All right? So PPU folks, if you'll take notes, and if there's not a PPU note taker with somebody else, please take notes. We will share the notes with the school board. All right? And, oh, I forgot to mention, in April, we're going to have a race talks at Crystal Ballroom. That means we can get a lot more people in there. They can get like 750 folks in there. And we will be inviting the school superintendents to come and to share what their diversity, equity, and inclusion plans are, and what are they doing to ensure that all students are safe and that students are getting equitable consequences. We had a child who committed suicide recently here in Portland, 9 years old. I'm concerned not only for the children who are committing suicide, but I'm concerned for the kids who are doing the bullying and teasing that caused them to commit suicide. What is going to happen to those children? We gotta get it together. We can keep thinking about the haves and the have-nots, or we can get it together. Okay, so we are going to take the next hour and 15 minutes and talk. So go for it. All right, and AJ will be going around selling tickets, and it's from Greenhouse. There's a ticket on your, fake money on your table from Greenhouse. Please patronize them. All right, let's go.
There's 4 of us up here that need a home. Who
needs a PPU person? Which table? So, the evening has come to an end, and we have only a few tickets in the basket. We have not paid for this basket. We have definitely not paid for the for the interpretation team that we had. So, in this basket, we've got all kinds of stuff. We've got a statue, a candle, bottle of some kind of special water, some kind of doll that drives away ookie ookie. We got a shutter release selfie stick. We've got, I think, a calendar or something. What is this? This is a selfie stick, another selfie stick thing. We got a Cirque du Soleil, something, and a basket too. So, please hold up your hand, only $10. You know that a beer costs almost that much. So hold up $10 and the people will walk around to get it for you. Now, while you're doing that, hold on. While you're doing that, Mom who's walking out the door, I hope you filled out your evaluation. You know you could implode if you don't. I don't want to see a mess back there at the back door. And your children are wonderful. They were really great, Mom. So here's the thing. I want you to be looking across the room. And I think we might almost have enough people of color here tonight that we could do this. I would love for people who are white to get with a person who's of color. And the two of you are going to exchange numbers. So, Mr. Video Man, come up here.
Miss Bernie does.
Bring me some slips.
Grab some slips.
So,
Okay, she's bringing.
so, here's what we do. All right, now look, listen, Linda. All right, so I'm gonna write my name on here and my phone number and my email.
I'm going to write my name and phone number on this one and email.
We're going to exchange. Where's the third one? And then we are going to write Donna and Joe on this one. Put your last name too. So we're going to write Donna and Joe, and then we're going to have a basket that goes around. And you could win $25 to go have a meal and get to know each other and not talk about race. Okay? So the whole idea, and you know, be kind of checking people out, because you know there might be somebody, this ain't Tinder, but you know. I'm just saying, Anthony's off limits. His wife does not want him to do it, so Anthony doesn't do the drawing. But everybody else is fair game. All right. So while we are selling some more tickets, while you are eyeing your person across the room, okay. So you're gonna put that one down, sister girl.
We do have.
Sophia has. That's for Sophia. That's Sophia's bag. That's your bag, Sophia.
Okay, my bag. It's right here. It's right here.
So anyway, so while we're doing that, we're going to have some music. We're going to do Slide the Family Stone, Everyday People. So come on, get with it. When the song is over, we need all of those things collected. Also, we have $5 gift certificates for Greenhouse.
Everyday people.
Sit down for a second, sit down for a second. So here's what I need you to do very quickly. If you have a question, y'all ain't listening? Come on now. Very quickly, if you have a question for the superintendent, 16 school districts, something like 250,000 kids in the Portland area, put your question down. And we'll see if we can send it. We're going to send it to them. They're going to send us information. We're going to put it in the put it on the website so you can go see it before they come to talk. And then when they come to talk, we'll do some other stuff. So, all right. So we're going to do the drawing. We only have like 3 partners. Yeah. I hope Tinder has more business than this. Is Tinder the one that's kind of... Okay, all right, I'm ready for the drawing for the gift basket. The gift basket goes to, all right, number 943267. 943267. All right. All right, good job. All right, and here, do we have any more partners for the $25 gift certificate? Do we have any more partners? None? All right, we don't have but like 2 people in here. Here we go. Here we go. All right, hey Jane, pick one. Ashley Koch and Julia Greenfield. Where are you? All right. Come get your gift certificate and come up here. I need both of you to come up so that you can smile for the camera. All right, cameraman, see the red light?
Look over here.
Okay, there you go. There's All right, thank you so much. Next month's Race Talks is March, I think, 14th. March 10th, thank you. March 10th, and it is the census, what it is and what it isn't. Thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you so much.